Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sterling Live. My name is Caitlin Brower. I'm Sterling's social media manager, along with your host for Sterling Live. I was joking with some people earlier, it's been the summer of Sterling Live, I would say. I've been coming at you guys week after week with such amazing content. We've been so busy, and I'm excited to have another episode today. And we've got more all up until the end of September right now. So I'm so excited. We're going to have a great episode today. And as you can see, I am joined by Evangeline Lopez, Client Success Practice Area Leader for Staffing. And at the bottom of the screen, you can see our topic today is client success in the staffing industry, how Sterling builds trust and protects our clients. Evangeline, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Sterling Live. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, thank you, Caitlin, for inviting me to be here today, and excited to spend the next couple of minutes with everyone who's joined today. As Caitlin shared, I am the staffing practice leader here at Sterling. I'm based in Richmond, Virginia, remote, like many of you, I'm sure. But with that, I've been with the Sterling organization for 8 years. So I've worn a number of hats during my tenure here, and we'll talk a little bit more about how that experience, has translated into my current role and how it impacts this way that we support our staffing clients and our team today.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I know you have a ton of stuff to get into in regards to the staffing industry and client success. So I'm excited to dive into that. Before we do, real quick, if you are watching live on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, if you have any questions for Evangeline throughout the show, please go ahead and pop them in the comment section across all 3 of these platforms. And I will get the questions over to her as I see fit throughout the episode. But with those questions, I have a lot of questions for you. So let's go ahead and get into it. I want to start off with an overview of client success. So, Evangeline, you said you've been here for 8 years, which is great. I love that. What do you like the most about your job?
Yeah, so things like this, I think I've always enjoyed. So I started out as a client success partner, and many of our clients are probably familiar with that role, but essentially all of our clients are provided a dedicated support team when you're a part of our organization. And so started out supporting clients. And I think what's always brought energy to me is going out and actually having the opportunity, whether it's in person or through webinars, to connect with our clients and hear from everyone, what's going on in your worlds, what's top of mind, what's most important. And sometimes the more interesting conversations aren't necessarily even, related to background screening, but what's happening in their worlds. Because I think there is a direct link in often different areas that do play a part into background screening and onboarding of new candidates and that sort of thing as well. But, to take it one step back, I think everyone asks themselves from time to time their why, right? Why do you do what you do every day? What gives you energy? What, keeps you motivated? And for me, I tell people all the time, background screening, there's nothing glamorous about this, right? But I like to think about it that, we are essentially the next step for someone to get their dream job, right? We're what stands in between them and that dream job, or the ability to financially support their family or their friends. And also, helping you all as our clients make sure that you have a safe work environment. And so when I think about my why, Caitlin, that's what it is.
Yeah, I think every person I've met at Sterling too, that ties back to their why as well. We're such a critical part for individuals, organizations, and it's really awesome to play a part, in those journeys, like you had said, getting a job, being able to financially support yourself, your family, organizations feeling comfortable that they have safe work environments. So I think all of us can definitely say that is their why, and it's exciting to be behind an organization like Sterling.
Absolutely.
You said earlier as well that you've been within client success in various roles, and then in various industries across Sterling as well. So can you dive in a little bit to talk about how we change our treatment strategy for clients within different industries?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are segmented into what we call practice areas. So dependent upon what industry or organization falls into, we will then, put you into a practice area that makes the most sense for your organization and then provide you a dedicated support team. But I think what you'll see is, different dependent again on what industry or practice area you may fall into. With that, I think a lot of it depends on the priorities in those practice areas. And so, for example, with staffing, turnaround time and the quick of time to hire is probably more critical than some of the other areas. But, a theme that I think is consistent as another example, whether you're in the financial sector, staffing, transportation, manufacturing, is that compliance, right? And that's one area where Sterling is consistent across practice areas, is making sure, again, that we're helping our clients stay compliant and secure. And what, obviously different industries have different regulations and that sort of thing. So making sure that whatever regulatory body might help govern the industry that you're in, that we are lock in step with you there and supporting you through those things. But yes, I mentioned, turnaround time is certainly critical within staffing. And so we do pay, I think, probably an extra emphasis and attention in that area for, a lot of the clients that my team supports today.
Let's look at that a little bit further, because I know you brought up turnaround time being super important, but I know the staffing industry probably differs a little bit in other areas as well. So can you speak to the range of staffing clients that you support, and what does our support structure look like? And then again, for the staffing industry, kind of any other differentiators you're seeing?
Yeah, so we support both large and small organizations from, the number of hires that you might be doing each year. So I don't think there's no perfect size. We're happy to support you if your organization is doing background checks of any sort. Where I think staffing is unique is that there's no like one set mold.
Right.
And what I mean by that is we have staffing clients who are, essentially hiring for short-term or temp workers. And then we have staffing clients who are looking for more executive type roles that we're staffing for. And what's also unique is not just the kind of role, but the industries that our staffing clients are hiring for. And so, I was having a conversation yesterday with a client. I said, we go through a lot of benchmarking exercises with our clients, and sometimes it makes more sense to benchmark our client against, a financial company, dependent upon, again, the kind of hiring that they're doing, that what their hires look like and that sort of thing. So it is certainly unique in that way. I talked about turnaround time. I think also it's unique to staffing, as we recognize that many of our clients have multiple partnerships where they're leveraging different companies for background screening. And so, my goal ultimately is to make sure that you feel well supported by Sterling, that when you think or know that you have to do a background screen, that we're the first company that comes to mind, and that we're providing you that support and that thorough background check that your client ultimately desires.
We speak about this a lot. I feel like we've spoken about it on Sterling Live before, and there's a lot of content that we produce to educate our audience around the staffing industry. And like you had said, how much it differs from organization to organization. This ties into my next question, because Evangeline, I know you mentioned this earlier, that we're not just talking to our clients about background screening. We're really trying to understand what's going on. So within my next set of questions, I want to talk about these staffing industry trends, because Sterling is at the forefront of it, and we're really trying to understand. So what do you think what are our staffing clients typically looking for within that background screening process?
Yeah, so I think, time to hire, I think comprehensive and complete information there. Criminal background screening can be very confusing, and it doesn't help that I feel like there's constantly new updates being made as to what, things that we can or can't report on, and,
Right.
what sort of PII is being leveraged to pull through that data. And so I think helping our clients understand what is out there and what is available to them is most important. But you asked a little bit more about some of the trends specifically that we see, or I'm seeing as I'm having some of these deeper dive and strategic conversations. And one thing that seems to be a theme, I think, throughout the industry is a lot of merger and acquisition activity this year. And so we're seeing a lot of that in, the staffing space, where larger staffing organizations are buying up or acquiring smaller staffing organizations. And what becomes interesting and critical, and how we can help support merger and acquisition activity, is that you might be absorbing an organization that didn't have the same background screening standards as what your organization does. And so maybe we need to rescreen. I think another area, technology, and how our clients leverage technology as we continue in this world of, AI, I think is a big topic, right? Especially in the hiring process. But what does technology look like? How can Sterling be on the forefront of what is available to us through different data points? And then, essentially, one of the hot topics is identity, right?
Yeah.
And validating through technology individuals' identity, and whether that's upfront before your candidate even goes through the background screening process, or is going through the I-9 process, making sure that who you think you're talking to is in fact the person that's going to show up day one is certainly super critical as well. I think risk reduction is always top of mind as a trend, right? How to reduce risk. And certainly part of our role is looking at ways to help your team do that, and what exposures your organization may have. And then it's really up to you to say, we're comfortable with this level of risk, or no, we're not. And here's what we need to do to make sure that we're feeling confident in the background screens that we're performing. And then I think another area trends that we're seeing is really vendor consolidation and reduction. So certainly in staffing, we recognize that clients, many times their clients tell them, we need you to use this background screening provider. But what we're seeing is that a lot of our clients are recognizing the benefit to doing business with less organizations, but less organizations who have more capabilities, right? To take them through the A to Z, essentially, of hiring and background screening. And so that's something that Sterling is looking at, as well as how we evolve and how we help our clients do that in the process. So I think those are some of the key areas and trends that, we're seeing, I'm hearing again through conversations. I think, if you're reading news articles in the industry and space, you'll see a lot of those topics are top of mind as well.
Yeah, it's really good to hear that, Sterling is listening to our clients on all levels, and we're addressing, all the trends that you had just mentioned. We are addressing them, and we are talking about them, whether it is at a high level out, in the market, or talking specifically to clients as well. So really, really good to hear that we're ahead of a lot of that right now. Earlier, you mentioned benchmarking and the importance within the staffing industry. So on that, I feel like reporting and analytics ties into that, and that would be very important for a lot of staffing agencies. So can you talk a little bit more about our reporting and analytics capabilities?
Yeah. So as again, as we think about how we support our clients and what we can do to help put information at your fingertips, we do offer our analytics tool, and it's a free resource to any client that works with us today. So if you are not leveraging that tool, I'd encourage you to reach out to your client success partner, let them know you want to learn more about that. But essentially, it's a real-time reporting tool, and a lot of our clients do leverage it because, like I shared, they want to have quick turnaround times, but they want quick access to information on how their background screening program is performing, where different background checks stand in the process. And so we actually have a platform where we've built out 11 different reports that have certain customizable features, as far as information that our clients can leverage in that way. But it is really good to be able to look at your program, not just holistically, but also understand the products that you're leveraging, what those look like, what the impact is, what your cost structure looks like. Because, again, back to staffing, but their clients have so many different packages and types of background checks that they're running, again, depend upon the candidate. And so, understanding where your program is can be really important, and to have that information real time. And then, of course, we understand people get busy. And so part of our role in supporting you as the client success team is making sure that we're having, whether it be quarterly or annual check-ins, to see how you are doing, how your program is performing. And certainly our conversations are not limited to those. But we're really doing a deeper dive to strategically understand where your organization is headed over the course of the next couple of months and into next year, and that sort of thing. And so with that, we look at, helping you benchmark, because that's, we get asked all the time, what are our peers doing? What are our competitors doing? And so, and it's a great question, right? Because everybody wants to be on the forefront of what's happening in their world. And another way, Caitlin, in addition to these Sterling Live conversations and that sort of thing, we also offer, based on practice area, our Sterling Client Councils, where we invite all of the different business leaders into a room together to share thought leadership and ideas, and again, topics that are top of mind. So if you've not been invited to one of those, again, please reach out to me, reach out to one of your client success partners. I believe the next one is on deck in October. And so we'd love to have you participate in those sorts of conversations.
Yeah, I love Sterling's leadership councils. I think it's something really awesome that we do as an organization, bringing our clients together to talk to each other. We're there just to be there, but it's our clients talking to each other. That's how we find out industry trends, what's going on, pain points, highlights, things like that. Not even just with background screening, like you had mentioned earlier, anything that's specifically going on for this conversation for staffing. So I love those, and we bring them up a lot on Sterling Live. So and again, like Evangeline said, if you want to take part, if you're a client, please do, because they are very, very beneficial. So we've talked about a little bit about how staffing is unique, obviously, as an industry. So one of the most unique things around staffing is that they're ultimately screening for their end client. So that's the process there. So with that in mind, and kind of what you're hearing from our clients, maybe in these roundtables potentially, or just kind of in normal conversations, what are they prioritizing as organizations with this process?
That's a good question. I think, again, from a prioritization perspective, being able to equip and arm our clients with the right information so that they can go back to their clients and say, education, right? Ultimately. And while, again, many times, our clients are dictating what they're running. Right. As far as a background screening program, I do think it's our role to help arm you all as our clients with information so that you can go back to your clients, because there is an element of them really relying on you all to be the source of knowledge in background screening and coming to them with ideas and recommendations. And I think, again, they will appreciate having that from you as a strategic partner. And so we're actually looking at, even creating some better and more educational materials around that, Caitlin, so that our clients feel, like I said, well equipped to have conversations. There are a lot of newer products on the market and that sort of thing. But if your clients don't even know they exist, right? How are they going to be able to come to you and say, hey, I need this? And so, I think that's also, something that's top of mind right now for the industry and for our clients. I think also, like, what's top of mind again is getting people through the door as quickly as possible. And so we do have ways that we manage to that internally very closely. It's a lot of monitoring of, tracking and that sort of thing for our clients to make sure that anything that needs extra special attention and care, that we are providing that to them as well.
So let's look to, the future a little bit, and kind of looking on the back as well. So over the last couple of years, how have you seen these programs shift and kind of where is it going?
Yeah, so I think obviously there have been so many changes with clean slate laws and different things that, again, make it more challenging. And our clients have the expectation of us that we will help keep them compliant. So I think you're going to just continue to see that more and more in the future. I do think, again, with the way that we're leveraging technology, that things are going to become different. And a perfect example, Caitlin, as we look into the future is very excited. The Department of Homeland Security is sort of finally catching up as far as from a technology perspective with I-9 and what that process looks like for our clients. And I know, COVID actually helped in that way, that, it brought to the forefront the need to be able to validate documentation from a virtual perspective.
Right.
And so with some of the recent changes with the Department of Homeland Security, what's nice is any of our clients who leverage E-Verify, we can actually support going forward. We have a solution essentially for remote I-9 validation and partnership with or in partnership with ID.me. And so it's going to be, if you're interested in taking a look at what that is and how it works, would love to talk more. But I think it's just going to open up a door of, again, better experience for candidates. And that's something that is really important to everyone as well. I know we talked a lot about what's important to our clients, but one thing that's also important to them is what that candidate process and experience looks like.
Right. This has been a great conversation so far, touching on a lot of good information in regards to the staffing industry, what's going on, how it differs, really showcasing kind of Sterling's expertise within this industry, and Evangeline, everything your team does to support our clients and making sure they're making the best decision. They have safe workplaces and things like that. So before we wrap up today's episode, I do want to give our audience the one final chance to submit any questions. So again, if you're watching live on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, go ahead and put your questions in the comment section and I'll get them over. As we wait for any final questions to come in, Evangeline, I'd love to get, your final thoughts for today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, like I shared, some of the trends that we see, and I think they're going to continue into next year, is merger acquisition activity, vendor consolidation, looking at leveraging technology and incorporating that into, the whole onboarding cycle of a new hire. And then really, again, just looking at ways to reduce risk and get accuracy in the background checks and information that's being provided. If you don't partner with Sterling today, I would love to have a further conversation with you. If anything that I've brought up kind of hit home, or you're like, I didn't quite catch, what was meant by that, but would love to do a deeper dive. I certainly would encourage you to reach out on LinkedIn or email me. I am very passionate about how we support our clients and what that looks like. And again, really hearing from you, one of the great things that I've had the opportunity to witness firsthand as I've worked here for a number of years is that we really do value and listen to our clients. And a lot of the ways that we build out our existing platform and products is really feedback from you all and what the market is demanding. And so I love to hear ideas from clients and then actually be able to take those to leadership and then see them come to life has been very energizing. And so, would just encourage anyone that would like to further our conversation today to reach out.
Absolutely. And as Evangeline said, there's a little bit of an echo there. If there's anything that interests you during today's episode, reach out to your client success partner. You can reach out to Evangeline. You can reach out to us on social media, and we'd be happy to, continue this conversation further. This was an absolutely amazing episode. I appreciate your time, Evangeline, for popping on with me. I thank our audience who tuned in live and anyone who's watching on demand in a little bit. But with that being said, I will catch everyone on the next episode of Sterling Live. Evangeline, thank you again.
Thanks, everyone.